everyone, I hope this video finds you well. It's a rainy day here in North Carolina. So this is the vlog about the counselor skills and the 3 video sessions that we watched in addition to the chapter 8 in the Granello and Young textbook this week on what happens in a counseling session. I think there's some important things to note from the text first before talking about the videos. I will say I really enjoyed the road map of the counseling process, the shared journey of counselor and client section in the textbook that it outlined, and it kind of gave these 5 stages of what the sessions usually end up looking like over time, what the kind of goal is in the beginning and what it should look like at the end. So stage 1, establishing the relationship, which I believe is one of the most important parts. You definitely do need to do this step first. I think that based on my own counseling experience, and something that I hope to imitate for my clients when I'm a future counselor, is just that ease of relationship between counselor and client. I really feel like the relationship is the building block to all of the other steps in counseling, and when you have that ease, that ebb and flow with your counselor where you feel like you can be open and honest, and that your counselor in turn is going to be empathetic, and you feel as though you can trust them, and you have that good relationship, I feel like that really makes a long-term difference in your sessions. I know for me personally, my therapist makes me feel so comfortable, and I feel like I can really be myself, and that she's going to validate me in my feelings while remaining neutral. She's not necessarily giving advice per se. She's giving suggestions on how to manage different symptoms that I may have. She definitely stays neutral though, but while also making me feel comfortable and validated. So I think that that's first and foremost the most important part, and I think that it was kind of hard to see in the session videos just because they're so short and we didn't get like an overview of what their sessions may look like, but that's the first step. And then it says stage 2 is assessment, which is basically the counselor asking the right questions and the client's providing information. And then stage 3, treatment planning, where you are proposing a schedule and kind of outlining what the goals are going to be and how we're going to work towards it. And then stage 4, intervention and action, where the counselor is giving specific methods to the problems and the client's putting those into practice. And then the last stage, the evaluation and reflection, so where the counselor and the client are kind of identifying what worked and what didn't, and has there been growth, and if they want to continue the sessions or not. And then the most important thing I think also that I saw in the text was the table 8.5 on page 272, the basic counseling skills, where it lists the open questions, those encourager statements such as okay and tell me more about that, the closed questions, paraphrasing, reflection of feeling, reflection of meaning, and summary. I feel like these skills listed in this table were definitely utilized by all 3 of the counselors that we saw in the videos. And I think that these are very efficient skills to definitely be able to come back and look on. They kind of give you just a basic outline of, how to get started and how to start asking the right questions and giving the client the space to answer them. I think that specifically the counselor who worked with the client who was having the homesick issue, I think that she did a very good job of staying neutral across the board. She didn't insert her own feelings, but she did a very good job of trying to do the reflection of feeling. She helped identify the client's emotions, I feel like, pretty well. The client said something and she would in turn either say, okay, or tell me more about that. And then once the client did that, she was like, okay, so you're feeling this way because of this, or, you're feeling lonely and isolated because you want to make these relationships, but you want to make sure that they're what you qualify, an adult relationship. So I think she did a really good job of using those few skills. And then kind of similarly and a little bit different, I think the counselor with the dancing session, I think he also did a really good job in this, and especially using the encourager statements, but he used it in a different way than I feel like the other counselor did, whereas hers were very just, can you tell me more about that, very broad. But I feel like the dancing counselor was more specific, and you know, if the client said, well, I feel like I'm missing this aspect of my life and I'm worried that I'm gonna be missing it in my new aspect, he didn't just say, well, tell me more about that. He was specifically saying, well, can you tell me what you feel is missing? You know, what did you have previously that you don't think you're going to have now? And I think that was really helpful in getting a clarified answer so that it would help with the bigger picture in that session. But I feel overall, all of the counselors definitely utilized those basic counseling skills. They were all very similar in that, which they did have their own differentiation, which I think is important. You don't want it to be robotic or, you know, in my opinion, too neutral. I think that staying neutral and not inserting your opinion is important, but I also feel as though, just based on my own personal, like I said, experience in my own counseling session, I do feel like it is important that, you know, the counselor does make you feel validated and comfortable to share those aspects and those feelings that you are having. And I also will say, I do think that they all did a very good job of having this like reflective pause for the client, where they really, the counselor was definitely like taking a moment before letting, like once the client responded to an initial question, the counselor did a good job of like staying quiet for a minute to make sure that the client really was saying all that they wanted to say, which I also think is important, because I think sometimes you kind of want to fill in that gap, and so it kind of just gives the client more time to divulge more information and, you know, tell the client more, or tell the counselor, excuse me, more about what's going on. So yeah, those are my thoughts, and I guess my question is, how do you, in sessions, recommend making sure that your client feels open and honest, and or feels like they can be open and honest? You know, what do you guys think that you would do to make your client feel comfortable to sharing their experiences and their feelings and emotions, so that the sessions don't feel maybe so like robotic or you know, just like following a template? That's my thoughts and my questions. Hope you guys have a good day.